Hey everyone, my name is Trickshot. Today we are going to be making a video based on something that I was hoping I would not have to talk about. But after experiencing it firsthand in the game, I think it has to come up. It's time for me to talk about it. So first off, we're talking about Genshin Impact and its new version 4.1. Now, before we get into what I'm here to talk about, I am not going to be talking about the story was bad or anything. I won't be talking about the big update as a whole. I think the update is fine as it is. Still waiting on the events because they haven't started yet, unfortunately. But I think so far it's perfectly fine. Nothing bad has happened yet related to the overall update or the new area. So that's not what we're talking about here. But let's jump right into it. So if you don't know already, Genshin yesterday dropped their version 4.1 update to the stars shining in the depths. Man, my English sucks. So this is their next big update after version 4.0, which I'm gonna be real with you. I think 4.0 left a lot to be desired. I think the update as a new region update was kind of lacking. There wasn't truly enough for what Fontaine was offering that was really unique enough to say, oh yeah, this was a really good thing, right? Like Inazuma was it was separate islands, and I think their overall style was really good. Samara had the rainforest, which was really cool, and the R&R story quest, which was really nice, albeit a bit long. I think 4.0 for Fontaine was very lackluster. It was good. I'm not gonna say it was bad, but I don't think it was enough. I think there should have been more added to really hone in on the fact that this is a new a new region to the game. But 4.1 came out, so if you don't know, 4.1 is the very gist of it is we got 2 new areas, there's some new world quests, the continuation of the story, yada yada. And this is actually going to be the update that we're going to be holding Genshin Impact's 3rd year anniversary. And this, along with something else, is the main focus of this video. And I think the biggest problem with Genshin Impact as a whole right now. So let's just jump into I think the biggest problem as it stands right now, and it's probably the 3rd year anniversary rewards. So I'm sure you've heard this complaint many times back in the 2nd anniversary, last year and sometimes this year. I definitely think that these rewards, while I do like them, I don't think they are enough for what this is symbolizing. You gotta understand, this is your 3rd year running in a row being very successful. You gotta understand, Genshin has been successful for 3 years. It has been in the Game Awards multiple times and has won rewards multiple times, right? Even though it's come out multiple years, and the Game Awards specifically for that year, it's still winning. It's some of the awards, right? So to see that this is how they thank players for spending 3 years, it leaves a lot to be desired, right? This is a gadget that has no use. This is just a thing that follows you, whatever, right? And I don't think this is enough. It doesn't all this is cool. A free multi, 2 free multis, right? But again, it leaves a lot to be desired, I think, right? While I'm doing this, I'm actually gonna pull up the Honey Hunter world here, just to talk about reference here while that's up. So, biggest problem is, this is not good for 2 things, for both the new players and the veterans, right? For the new players, you may think, oh, they're getting 2 free multis. How is that a big deal, right? I don't see what the big problem is. You have to understand, coming into a game, you should be, to an anniversary of all things, you should be getting lots of rewards. Other gachas will give you 5 to 10 free multis, free characters, boost events. They'll do everything to keep you hooked on the game. The whole point of an anniversary not only is to show hey guys, we have to tell veteran players thanks for playing us 3 years. It's also to show new players this is what we have been doing. This game has been going for 3 years. Let's show you why it has been going for 3 years, why you should play the game, right? And to see that this is realize this is the only thing they're doing for anniversary, just these 2 things, a week login and a 4-day mail thing. Considering that all this is, that's not enough. That really isn't enough. right, for new players. I don't think it is. There's no boost event where like, oh, you can get like 2 times like EXP or something, or like, oh, you can get more artifacts. There's none of that. None of that. It's just this, right? And it sucks for the veterans because you played 3 years, and this is what you get. 2 multis. 2 multis equates to about a couple months playtime, right? For free. That's not including events. If we're including events, like 1 patch, which is 6 weeks. Do they really think that's enough for veterans? Right? I honestly don't think so, right? So we'll come back to this in a second, right? So the second big thing that I really wanted to talk about was this new system they added here, the encounter point stage rewards. So this is a new thing they added in version 4.1. They actually talked about earlier that I talked about in a video prior. And this is basically, its main goal is to try to quote-unquote replace the daily commissions, right? Basically how this works is, let's say you go exploring, you get oculi, you get chests, you do quests, events, etc. You will get encounter points. And when you get enough points, you will get these rewards, and they give you the exact same rewards as the commissions do, right? Which is, you know, that's fair, right? I expect them to give them more, because if they give more, that'd be kind of problematic, I think. Because it would trivialize the commissions. And you can mix and match them, but you can't get over 40 primos, right? So let's say you can do like 3 encounter stages and then a commission, but you can't do like the others to get like 80 primos. That's not how that works. It will stop you once you get 40 primos. If you get all these, you can't do any commissions. If you do all the commissions, you can't do any of these, and then you can mix and match however you want. The biggest problem with this is there's only a couple ways to actually get these points. So let me switch over to Genshin. Don't mind my transition. I'm just late. So here's how you actually get the encounter points. So you complete quests, which include Archon quest, story quest, world quest, or invitation quests, right? And the number of points you gain actually depends on like the type of side quest. You get collection, like oculi, crimson gadgets, luminous bar, plumes of purifying light, chests, and events. That's how you get these. That's how you get these encounter points, right? The problem is, these are really out of your way, right? You're either already doing this, right? Or, like, you can't do them anymore. So let's say, for example, you've already done the world quest, right? Which, the Archon quest, right? Like, you've done all these quests, right? Which is possible. You could do all of it already, right? Let's say you've also done the events, right? And let's say if you're a veteran player, you've done most of this. Like, you've opened most of the chests, you've gotten all the oculi, you've gotten all of these, right? This now becomes trivial. Because how do you get points after this? Right? Like, let's say you've done all the quests. Let's say you've gotten all of this. Let's say you've done all the events. Let's say you've opened most of the chests. What are you gonna do? Go for more chests? But you've already gotten most of them, so you're just kind of taking more time up to get the same rewards you would do by just doing your commissions, which is problematic because that's not what you want to do, right? The whole point is to give another option for commissions. But if I'm going out of my way to do that, I might as well just do the commissions, which are faster. And that's the problem right there. These are just faster to do. They just are, right? Now, if it's a new version, right? If it's a brand new version, like start of a new version, like how it is now, yeah, okay, sure, this is fine. I can roll with this, right? But once the end and you've done most of everything, this doesn't matter anymore. Now you just go back to these, and now this becomes kind of trivial, and like you don't do it anymore, which kind of goes against what it's supposed to do, right? Like, I don't know what you want. I don't really get it. I really don't. Let's go back here. So that's the problem I have with it. There's just it's just not good enough, I don't think. It's too trivial. Way too trivial of a system to like warrant keeping around for veteran players, right? Because you're a veteran, you don't really need this once you've gotten past the new version for like the first week, right? That's just not how that works. And I think the reasoning for this is because they're trying to cater to the newer players, right? That's what I think most of this stuff is for. They're trying to grab in newer players to their game. This is really good for newer players because you just started the game. You can now go for a quest, oculi. You don't have to waste your time to go into these commissions because you can just do this, right? So they're going to be doing this while playing the story, and they don't have to do those commissions, right? It's not necessary, right? It'll become problematic later on when they now have to also do the commissions and they've never done them before, but it still works, right? But for veterans, this isn't all that useful. I don't think it is, because you have to go exploring for that, and if you've already explored most of the area, this is not good for you, right? You can't do it. So there's no real reason for veterans to use this, but for newer players, it's a good thing, right? And that's the biggest problem. The newer players are getting more and more of the decent updates, right? Like the decent quality of life. Like earlier, like I think for this update, they made like ascension quests like much easier to understand. Like oh, they'll tell you, hey, you can ascend, by the way. You can do the ascension quest to do this, right? And they've also made them easier for newer players too. They even added some special more rewards for in battle, right? Which, and if you don't know, the embattlement is just like you do missions and then you get free rewards. That's all it is, right? It's like, it's for early game, really early game. See? Early game, newer players. But the veterans don't really need that because they're not really lacking in those resources, so they don't need them per se. It's nice, but they don't need them. They're catering towards newer players to try to grab them into the game because they know the veterans already put so much time into the game. They know they'll just do anything for characters, but they have to entice the newer players. And this is how they do it. Wow, that was a really weird cut. Hold on. I apologize for that. The music just kind of cut off out of nowhere. I don't know why. No matter. But like I said, this is mainly to cater towards newer players, and it doesn't help the veteran players. That another big problem is there's no good endgame content. Now you could say, oh, but the Spiral Abyss is endgame content, right? And to an extent, it can be, right? If you're a newer player, you see how we're keep coming back to this? If you're a newer player, yeah, it's really hard to you. Floors 9 to 12 seem impossible, right? They're really hard, they're really high level, you need really good like characters or like really highly built to do this, right? Like it's pretty difficult. And that lineup keeps changing, so you want to get characters to keep doing that. But once you get yourself two solid teams and you clear get all 36 stars for the first time, that's it. You beat the hardest content in the game. You can't get any higher than that. Like there's nothing past that point. So what do you do, right? Because I will say this. Abyss, outside of a couple of versions, there have been a couple of versions where the lineup has been really annoying to the point where it was kind of hard to get 36 stars. But once you get 36 stars in the first time ever in Spiral Abyss, it's pretty, like, you can consistently keep doing it after that point, right? Unless the lineup is really horribly in your favor, right? Which can happen, right? There have been a couple of versions where that's happened, right? But most of the time, that's just not the case. Right? Once you beat Spiral Abyss 36 stars for the first time, it's not that bad to you anymore. And that's the hardest content we've gotten. There's no more endgame content after that. Spiral Abyss is the endgame content. And once you do it for the first time fully, there's nothing past that. The only thing you can do at that point is just to get characters and see how fast you can do it. And that's not like something to strive for. Like, it really isn't. Once you're doing it for the rewards. You're doing it for the Primo Gems. You're not doing it to like get the fastest time unless you're speedrunning it, right? So the fact that there's nothing past that is kind of bad, to be honest with you, because there's no reason to like go all that hard once you beat it for something you can consistently keep doing it, right? So at that point you just summon for characters. But the problem with that is like for newer players, it's a little bit more annoying. Because if you were an old player, right? Let's say you played back in like the very old days, right? The very old days, like version 1 old days, and you got Hu Tao or Ganyu, you could not lose. I'm telling you right now, if you got Hu Tao back in 1.3, you were unstoppable for years. You had her, you could not be stopped unless they were literally immune to Pyro. Literally, that was the only reason you couldn't use Hu Tao. They were just immune to Pyro. Even characters that have resistant to Pyro still took a lot of damage from Hu Tao. Was it reasonable to do that? No, but This character is the whole reason that every character after that point is just kind of right? Or like are very dupe heavy, right? Same with Ganyu. Ganyu's before this. When she came out, she was an absolute monster. Still kind of is today, right? I would not put you past it if you still like this, you still use this character. She was absolutely a goated unit, no pun intended. And that's kind of the problem. Once you had these two, it was really hard to like lose, right? All you had to run was Xingqiu with Hu Tao and you won the game. Ganyu just run freeze combat. You couldn't lose unless they were immune to freeze, but you can still do a lot of damage without freeze, right? And they only exasperated that problem with Yelan. I think Yelan was, I love the character, I really do, but this is just a problem character because she was a 5-star version of Xingqiu, who still is one of the best supports in the game, right? He still is. And so if you made a 5-star version of that character that does more damage and can basically do what he does, yeah, you basically just created this right here. Hu Tao and Yelan is the best duo in the game, right? Or I guess arguably the best duo in the game, right? Right? And let's go into that. Let's go into quickly another problem. Nahida and Nilo. Okay? When Dendro first dropped, right? We gotta remember, when Dendro first dropped, it was just Kola and Tanari, and they were okay. They were good, but not like broken to the point where I'm like, okay, like Dendro was like god tier. But Dendro as an element was really powerful. It had so many good reactions that all you needed was just that one or two character, like those one or two characters that like really showed what Dendro was. And then Nilo came out, and she was like the beginning of the end, right? She had a really powerful ability where she could make really powerful cores, but the one restriction was, if I scroll down here, right here, all your characters in the party had to be either Dendro or Hydro. You had to have one Dendro, one Hydro, and you had to make sure everyone in your party was that, right? That was the one stipulation. When she came out, that wasn't easy. Like the only characters when she came out that could do that could help you was like Kokomi, right? Like Kokomi, her, and then like Hole, and then maybe like Tanar if you had him, right? That was the biggest problem with Nilo. She didn't have enough characters who weren't doing that. Hope you didn't hear that. This place is crazy. But that's the problem now. She just was missing characters, right? Then once Nahida came out, that was it. It was over. It was over. She is inarguably, I think, the best Dendro character in the entire game by support alone, right? She has the skill, the all skills to know where it puts the seeds of Skandha, and this Tricon Purification is so stupidly powerful. The fact that it links to enemies and all of them take damage if even a reaction happens is stupid crazy. Add on top of the fact that Nilo Blue gets even more powerful if they're linked, and you just have strong power. You just can't lose. You just had a hard time losing. Straight up a hard time losing, right? The only time this didn't work was if they were just immune to Dendro. Again, if they were immune to Dendro, this team kind of fell apart, right? Like, there was a point where this team didn't work because it was like cryo, and Dendro couldn't do anything about that shield, right? And that was the biggest problem. That's the whole reason that they weren't good for that one Spiral Abyss version, because they just couldn't get past the shield, right? But since they were cryo, you could just throw on Hu Tao and just win the game, right? That's the biggest problem. These characters are so overly broken together, like just in general, that the power creep is immense. Truly immense, right? But I'm getting off topic. I really am. Just know that Abyss, once you got certain characters, became a joke, right? It really did. And that was the in-game content gone, right? There was no need to play the game anymore. There was like no need to like go any further because you just beat the hardest content in the game. There's no more hard content. And that's the problem. Why does Genshin not make more hard content? It totally could. They have hard enemies in the game. They do. And they could easily make some more hard content with more rewards. But they don't. And I really don't like that they don't do that. They don't cater towards the veteran players who have these really powerful characters that just kind of trivialize their hardest content because they refuse to make it that much harder. They really do. The only way they can make it hard is if they just make some characters just not work. And that's just a problem. If you don't make a character work, then is it really hard because it's hard, or is it hard because you couldn't use your strongest character? You couldn't use one of your characters, and they kind of helped you, right? This game became more of a, hey, go for this character if you want to like really win the game. Like Nouvellette and Riothusly are definitely like subject to that. Like they definitely are, right? That's just what I think. There's just, it's way too catered toward newer players, and the newer players, it's just not, I don't think that the newer players should be their biggest priority. Or at least like, they shouldn't prioritize them over veteran players as much as they do, right? I feel like they should give some love to the veteran players because they really don't. I'll give my solution. I think for 30th anniversary awards, very simple, very simple. You take the standard banner 5-star characters, including Tenari and Dehya, because I don't think they're broken. I really don't. And you allow all players to pick one for free. I don't see why they can't do that. Like what? Do they think that Diluc is gonna, like, if giving Diluc for free is gonna just horribly ruin the game and like then everyone will be able to clear the hard content? No. What? Like, no. Sorry, Mona's gonna do that, right? Like, Mona's gonna do that. Or like Kaching, right? Or Tenari. Or, my bad, Dehya. Yeah, Dehya is gonna help you, is gonna help clear all the content for you, right? Oh no, my bad, Chi-Chi. She's gonna help you too, right? Like, or Jean. Yeah, maybe Jean's gonna carry the content for you, right? Maybe she'll do everything for you. Right? That's one thing. I can understand not giving the weapon for free. I can kind of get the gist of that. I would still think that should be an option, either a weapon or a character, but I still think that they should give at least one of the two for free, because at this point in the game, these guys don't matter anymore. There are much better replacements for these characters in the game right now. So I don't see why they can't just do that, right? That's like the biggest thing I think Anniversary should just give a free 5-star character, like standard banner, specifically standard banner for free, right? Second thing, add some boost events. Maybe like for like the week or something, make it to where like all ley lines you get like that double resin thing. All talent domains have it, right? All like artifacts have it, right? Make it to where like, oh, you have like 5 per day, and you can use 5. You can use 5 anywhere you want, right? That would be really helpful. It helps newer players catch up to speed and allows veteran players to, you know, do things they need, like prepare for future characters or get artifacts, because the artifact system is a whole different issue that I don't want to talk about here, but that's also a problem, right? And that can help you fix that problem to some degree, not fully, but to some degree at least. Soften the blow, right? And then this has to be reworked. There's one or two okay, hold on, I'm gonna kill that music. Okay, so I think this will be very quick. My solution to fixing this, there's one or two things you can do. They can look there's now, people might not agree with this, but they can look how to Star Rail did it and copy that, which, if you don't know, basically in Star Rail there's one daily mission, right? And there's just a bunch of other missions you do, like, oh, clear like an artifact, like the relic domain, which is their game version of artifact, right? Or do like Calyxes, which is their version of ley lines. Just do those, get these points, and some will give a bit more points than others, like, oh, like playing with an ultimate, or like doing like Simulated Universe, which, think of it as like, actually there's no way to really think about that. I can't really tell you because there's no comparison to Genshin, right? I can't say it's the Abyss because it's not the Abyss, that's the Memory of Chaos. So like oh, and you get points, and then you just do those missions, including your daily if you want to or not, because you can actually get around not doing it, but the daily gives you some of those points, so it helps, right? And then you just get those, get your points, get your rewards, you're out of there in maybe about like 10 to 15 minutes, maybe less, maybe 5 if you're like get like really good ones, right? You can get out of there in like 5 minutes, right? Tops. And if you're like if you're like getting ready your like resin, right? Or like your power. Here I think could be something similar. Have like one specific commission that like helps for like towards achievements, or just like a general like, not like the generic, oh, break this, like spreading evil, or like actual like unique missions to put them out, right, to help like for like achievements or something. And then just having things like, oh, like get this item, like oh, get like these items, cook this or something, right, or like enhance this artifact or something, right, like enhance like this art, like an artifact to like a certain level to get points and the daily. That would make it so much faster and help the commission problem as a whole, right? Now, people might not like that, right? So what they could also do, I think, is they could turn this into a weekly reward thing. So instead of just a daily thing that like you can't mix it with them, you can't like do along with daily commissions at the same time, have this be a weekly thing that gets more rewards, maybe about like 200 or so primals per week, maybe more if they wanted to, right? And then give it to, and make it to where you can get points by like getting like specialties, or doing Spiral Abyss, or like just doing anything else, right? This just like doing general other things, including like what already is like doing quests, exploring, events, etc., right? Doing all of that and give that out as a weekly reward. That gives not only players more rewards in general, which helps your game, but also for the fact that, oops, I said my phone. Also for the fact that, you know, it's just nice to have a weekly reward, because there's no weekly reward in Genshin. Like outside of weekly bosses, but I don't really consider those weekly rewards. I just think of those as, oh, okay, I have to kill these guys now. Like, that's not a weekly reward. That's just something I just kind of have to do every week, right? It's like a chore, right? So I think they could add a reward, so it incentivizes you exploring and like getting specialties and stuff, while also keeping the daily commissions there, right? That would not fix the commission problem. I still think that needs to be a little fixed around, but at least you have more rewards to give to players, right? That's what I think they should do. One of those two. They probably won't. I think they won't go back on this idea, right? I really don't think they'll change this at all, and they'll just stick with what we have. But hey, it's here now. Let me know what you think of this, if you've even done it, because some people who just forgot about, who don't even, are not even aware of this, right? And yeah, tell me. And hopefully you are enjoying this version. I am enjoying this version so far, but we'll have to see how the events hold up and what they do later on. But that's it for this video. I'm done ranting. I'm gonna figure out that stupid music problem. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you all next time.